What's up guys, it's Tom here and welcome to a super exciting Liverpool news video because the Foot Mercato French news outlet is reporting that Liverpool have made their move and contacted directly Xabi Alonso, the current Bayer Leverkusen manager, former Liverpool midfielder, and I think he's a kind of a Liverpool legend as well because he won the Champions League in his first season and many other trophies, over their future managerial vacancy. This is according to the report this Wednesday from Foot Mercato, and this is very exciting news because I think Xabi Alonso is the best and most suited manager to take Liverpool forward to the next level. There are of course other managerial candidates. Unai Emery has been mentioned by some people, and of course he's not everyone's cup of tea. He's not as charismatic as Jurgen Klopp or Xabi Alonso, but not a lot of people are, to be frank. And also Unai Emery would be, I think, a good appointment because he's just a brilliant manager. He's more similar to Rafa Benitez and he did really well at Liverpool. So let me know, which manager do you want to be Jurgen Klopp's successor at Liverpool? Let me know in the comments below, and of course if you enjoy these videos make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want me to keep continuing making these videos, I need your support because financially I'm struggling a bit in this January and February month. The ad revenue is really low on YouTube, so please support me. You can donate or subscribe to any tier on Patreon, link is in the video description, and I get like 95% of that donation, but you can also alternatively donate on YouTube. I get like 60% of that, so link is in the video description to the Patreon, or below the video there is a thanks button. You can donate directly there on YouTube. And Xabi Alonso has done again absolute wonders at Leverkusen, because last night there was a German Cup quarterfinal, Leverkusen against Stuttgart, and Stuttgart have been one of the top 4 teams in the Bundesliga, and Stuttgart were leading 2-1 away from home, and then Leverkusen turned it around and won it in the 90th minute through a Jonathan Tah header. So Leverkusen and Xabi Alonso is still unbeaten this season. In like 25 games they have won like 22 and drawn 3 I think, or maybe 4. So they have only 4 draws, all of the rest are wins, but the big test comes against Bayern Munich on the weekends. And the Foot Mercato news outlet is reporting that Xabi Alonso is the early favorite to take over at Liverpool on the back of his incredible stint at Bayer Leverkusen. He took Leverkusen over when they were second from bottom in the Bundesliga. Yes, they didn't have squad who are worthy of relegation, but he propelled them to European qualification to 6th place in the Bundesliga last season, and this season he has been doing an absolutely brilliant job. They are top of the Bundesliga. The big question is, can he stay there? And it will also be very interesting how Xabi Alonso does in Europe. I think Liverpool fans, you know that we are the most successful European club in English football, so it's very important for Liverpool fans to have a manager who not only respects European competition but who also knows a lot about European competition and knows how to do well in them. Marseille president Pablo Longoria also recently revealed that Xabi Alonso knew exactly which 3 or 4 clubs he wanted to coach in his managerial career, and he was prepared to wait for them. So even in 2022 Marseille wanted to hire Xabi Alonso and he rejected them, and I think he ultimately made a good decision because the Bundesliga is a much more high profile league than the French league. And Xabi Alonso previously said many times that he felt more at home at Liverpool than at Real Madrid, for example, and he considers Liverpool one of his homes alongside Real Sociedad, of course, and the Basque region of Sociedad. And Xabi Alonso probably would be a match for Liverpool, not just because he was a former player, but because he's such an intelligent, well-spoken man, and he's a brilliant manager already, and with more experience he will get even better. And the good news is that Carlo Ancelotti recently renewed his contract at Real Madrid, so it doesn't look like Real Madrid are looking to hire a manager anytime soon, and Thomas Tuchel's post at Bayern Munich is not under immediate threat. But it could be ironic because if Xabi Alonso wins the Bundesliga with Leverkusen, it's a big success, but then Bayern Munich will probably fire Thomas Tuchel and try to get Xabi Alonso. Of course I don't want that, and I think if he chose between between Bayern and Liverpool, he would always choose Liverpool in my opinion. And this is really good news that Liverpool have Xabi Alonso as the top of our shortlist for the next manager, and also the fact that we are directly talking to him and his agent shows me that Liverpool really mean business. We want to set up the next phase of this Liverpool 2.0 rebuild by hiring a sporting director, hiring a manager. We are in talks on both positions with multiple people, multiple managers, multiple potential sporting directors as well. I already made some reports on the previous, the sporting director talks in my previous video, so make sure to watch that if you haven't already. And Bastian Cheval is reporting that the Liverpool have taken matters into their own hands and got in touch with Xabi Alonso, and we started talking with him. And it is even claimed that the Liverpool board have made first contact with Xabi Alonso in November, when we already knew that Jurgen Klopp is going to step down at the end of the season. And this is ratified by Sky Germany and Florian Plettenberg, who says that Leverkusen are fully aware of Liverpool's interest in Xabi Alonso. And of course Leverkusen are hopeful that they can keep Xabi Alonso beyond this season, but they also know that if one of his 3 or 4 favorite clubs come calling, there is a verbal gentleman's agreement between Leverkusen and Xabi Alonso that Xabi Alonso could leave the club. And of course we know that the key figure in appointing the next Liverpool manager is the experienced sporting executive Theo Epstein, the former Boston Red Sox CEO, who was recently appointed by FSG, the Liverpool owners. He has no correlation to the other Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein. They just have the same name, but they have no connection. And Fabrizio Romano also said that Liverpool will have a complete change, many things going to change at Liverpool. He said they need a total rebuild. They need someone new added to the Liverpool board, a new manager, new staff, and so many things are going to be different at Liverpool. From what I'm hearing, for sure Xabi Alonso is a candidate that Liverpool are considering. At the moment there are no concrete conversations according to Fabrizio Romano. It is too early to say if Xabi Alonso will be the next Liverpool manager, but for sure he is a big candidate. Brighton's De Zerbi is another man on the list to replace Jurgen Klopp, but I don't think he speaks good enough English, and that could be a stumbling block. And also I'm not really convinced by him. Brighton's results have been really up and down this season. Of course they lost some of their best players last season, like Moises Caicedo and Alexis McAllister, but still, I'm not too convinced about De Zerbi. Fabrizio Romano said Liverpool will also have a new director and then a new manager, with Xabi Alonso considered higher on the list than De Zerbi. But the situation is quite open. All these movements will lead to a crazy summer transfer window. Of course, Fabrizio Romano is already hyping up the transfer window because that's where he loves to be the most. And the current Marseille president, Pablo Longoria, gave an interview recently where he said, "It was after Georges Sampaoli that I went to see, looking for a new manager, I went to see Xabi Alonso. He told me with an elegance, the same elegance he had when he played football, the 40-yard crossbar in his feet. He was telling me no. I should have been upset, but I almost wanted to thank him. You see that his brain goes at another speed. He knew exactly the 3 or 4 clubs he wanted to coach, and he was ready to wait for them," which is really interesting. I think in 2022, Xabi Alonso wasn't already Bayer Leverkusen manager. He was at Real Sociedad coaching their second or youth team. But now that he has 1.5 years at Leverkusen, he's much more experienced. And what is really encouraging is that Liverpool are actually talking to Xabi Alonso's representatives, advisors, agents, and there was a Zoom call that happened last week to explain the process to Xabi Alonso, and both Liverpool and Xabi Alonso were happy with the situation, and they will keep talking during the season to see how things progress. Paul Robinson, former England goalkeeper, current pundit, he said that Xabi Alonso should get the opportunity. He has proved he is a quality manager, but for me they are huge shoes to fill. Jurgen Klopp, coming after Jurgen Klopp as manager. What Jurgen Klopp has done at Liverpool with the trophies he has won is incredible. For the next man in, it's a really difficult task. I wouldn't want to be the next manager in. I would want to be the one after the next manager after Jurgen Klopp. The manager who replaces Klopp, it's almost an impossible task. If you don't pick up the baton and win trophies, it will be a problem. But the one after him, that's the job you want, because to follow someone of Jurgen Klopp's quality would be incredibly hard. The way Jurgen Klopp is held in such high regard by players and staff, for anyone to come in and even come close to that is going to take something crazy. But Alonso could be a man to carry on the mantle. And I think there is a big example. You don't have to hire a manager just like Jurgen Klopp, because there is just nobody like him with the charisma. Xabi Alonso comes close with the charisma, the intelligence, the well-spokenness, but they are different people. And there was a time where Liverpool lost another absolutely iconic manager, Bill Shankly, probably the biggest legend of a manager at Liverpool. And Bob Paisley followed, and he was a completely different kind of personality, completely different man. Bill Shankly was very outspoken, very outgoing. Bob Paisley was a lot more reserved. I'm not saying Bill Shankly was like Jurgen Klopp and Bob Paisley was like Rafa Benitez, but that's like the modern day equivalent of how different they were in terms of their personalities. And yet Bob Paisley was even more successful than Bill Shankly. He won even more trophies. Bob Paisley won like 3 Champions Leagues in 7 years, and he was won or 8. I think he has been at Liverpool 9 years. He has won like 5 or 6 league titles. He only came second. That was his worst finish as a Liverpool manager, Bob Paisley. For in 9 years to win like 5 or 6 league titles, and the other seasons he came second. That's absolutely amazing. And also to win like 6 league titles, 3 Champions Leagues, and a few FA Cups and League Cups. It's an absolutely remarkable achievement by Bob Paisley. And I just wanted to say that, it was almost an impossible task to follow Bill Shankly, and yet Bob Paisley did it. So he won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 league titles, 3 Champions Leagues, so I remembered correctly. He also won the UEFA Cup 1 year before his first Champions League win. He won the League Cup 3 times, and he also became Manager of the Year in England 6 times. Absolutely amazing. Also yesterday Liverpool found out who they play in the 5th round of the FA Cup after Southampton have beaten Watford, I think 3-0. So Liverpool will host Southampton in the FA Cup, I think 3 days after we play the League Cup final. So that is going to be a really tough game just because of the schedule. And I mean, it's crazy that in England they allow this, that the schedule is so crazy like this. I mean, yes, Liverpool now have 2 weeks where we only play 1 game per week, but after that the schedule is going to be crazy and it's going to be ramping up. And thankfully we are not involved in the Europa League last 32 playoff round, so we will only join in the last 16. But imagine how many games Liverpool would play if we would be involved even in the last 32 playoff round. And what's also interesting is that Manuel Neuer, in a recent fan club visit, he was asked by the fans whether Jurgen Klopp could take charge of Bayern Munich after his 1 year break. He said, "I think it depends on Klopp. I don't think Bayern has anything against that, because he's a renowned, very good, experienced, tactically astute coach who has gained big respect from all footballers, and I believe that he is definitely a potential candidate who could work at Bayern in the future at some point. Whether he wants to do that is of course his business. Maybe he wants to take a break first, maybe he no longer wants the day-to-day business. I can imagine him possibly being the national team coach one day. Of course that mainly depends on Jurgen Klopp, and even Jurgen Klopp doesn't know. He will find that out once he takes this break, how much he misses football and what kind of job he wants to take on. But I think what some of you guys don't know, and I know it because I read Jurgen Klopp's autobiography, is that he was actually approached by Bayern Munich to be their manager when he was at Mainz. And he was a very charismatic, very good coach back then, but of course he wasn't as good as he is right now. And in the end, Bayern Munich chose somebody else. I think it was Jurgen Klinsmann at the time, and that failed spectacularly. But there is a connection there. Jurgen Klopp would have definitely been interested in the Bayern Munich job. This was before he was even the Dortmund manager, became the Dortmund manager. So that's an interesting caveat or interesting fact to consider. So maybe Jurgen Klopp feels that there is unfinished business with him him and Bayern Munich, with him and German football. I mean, Bayern would be absolutely unstoppable with Jurgen Klopp as their coach, I'm sure, because they have pretty much the best resources, the biggest resources in Germany, and even one of the biggest resources in European football. So yeah, let me know what you think about everything that we talked about in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.